How's it going, Raz Manites? Well, as you can probably tell, today we are going to do a movie review. And today's episode centers around the Alex Proyas film, Knowing. Today, on the Raz Man's Reality. Now, for those of you that have never seen my film reviews before, I always try to tell you whether or not you can watch one without any spoilers, or whether or not I can do a review on the film without giving away its plot. Alex Proyas' Knowing is not a film that I can delve into without talking about its plot, because its plot is part of what drives the performances in the film to be as epic as they are. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that the case with every movie you're at? Well, no, not necessarily. A lot of films that you see, the acting is actually far better than its plot, and the actors actually overcome a really crappy plot to deliver a gem. However, in the case of Knowing, I feel it was the opposite. It was the writing and the way that Proyas presented this film that allowed the actors to perform off such an amazing script. So if you do not wish to be spoiled about this plot, please do not watch this review until you see Knowing for yourself. Knowing stars Nicolas Cage, who plays an MIT scientist with a son attending elementary school. That elementary school is on the verge of celebrating an event that happened 50 years ago. That event is the placing of a time capsule by its students. The day of the unveiling of the time capsule arrives, and it's taken from the ground, and each of the children are given a piece of what the children from 50 years ago put in the time capsule. Nicolas Cage's son in the film, I apologize, I don't remember the names of all the actors and actresses from this film, because to be quite honest, I didn't recognize any of them except for Nicolas Cage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use IMDb and place the IMDb cast list in the description box below if you want to check it out. Cage's son, character name of Caleb, finds his piece of the time capsule to be a piece of paper with hundreds of thousands of random numbers written down. At least that's what we are led to believe. The first scene in the film we see is of a teacher assigning her students to put things in the time capsule, and the little girl whose idea the time capsule was is the one that begins to write down these numbers. And she just scribbles them down and cannot stop. It's uncontrollable to her. So it's very clear to us as an audience right from the very beginning that these numbers are not random. However, as is the case with most films, character discovery is part of the story. So the characters don't know that these numbers are random. Well, Nicolas Cage starts to figure it out. And because I'm probably rambled way too much already, let me just shorten it up by telling you in the end what these numbers in fact reveal. What the numbers reveal is that these are a sequence of numbers, either location or past events, that are responsible for just about every major disaster in the world for these last 50 years. Cage believes that it's no accident that he found these numbers, and once he discovers their meaning, he feels it's up to him to stop every disaster that there is from happening. Meanwhile, as Cage's journey with the numbers is going on, his son Caleb's journey is one in which we see him continually visited by these strange cloak men. It turns out that these men are in fact aliens from another universe that were sent to not endanger Caleb, but in fact protect him. What from? The end of the world. That's right, the final sequence of numbers is revealed to have no end date, because that is when the planet itself will end. By the film's end, Caleb and a little girl, Abby, who was the daughter of the little girl in the beginning of the story, are whisked off to begin a new Earth in safety while Nicolas Cage is left behind. Now, I know what you're thinking. What a terrible, terrible story for a father to be separated from his child and left to die alone. When in actuality, that is not the truth at all. Proyas does an absolutely fantastic job in this film of making you believe that the point of the story is one thing, and that one thing being the journey of Nicolas Cage and the growth of his character. And while that is part of it, while the character goes through a lot of changes and receives closure by film's end in a way which I will not spoil, the truth is what Proyas is telling us and reminding the whole world is that children are the only true innocence of our society. Children have not been corrupted by greed, fear, anger, or bad decisions. They simply begin life going through it, trying to discover what is right for them. So it makes sense for these alien beings who knew of Earth's destruction to save the children of Earth, to start Earth over again and make Earth better than it was before. Before seeing the film, the one thing I heard about it is that a lot of people hate the ending of the film because of the fact that it shows Earth to be corrupt, or it shows that even a person who redeems his soul, like Nicolas Cage, sometimes it's too late for them. In actuality, what I feel Proyas is trying to say in this film is that even if Earth was destroyed by the sun, it does not mean that there would be no hope for mankind. The hope for mankind lies in the faith and abilities of our young generation. On the surface, this sounds like a very complicated story. They didn't really know what it was trying to be. Was it trying to be a man's journey, a child's journey, or a simple science fiction thriller? When in actuality, what it does is show that a film does not have to have one direction. It can have many directions and many meanings in order to produce a good product. Knowing, to me, is one of the best films of this past year, 2009, and is a hidden gem. This is a film, at least here in the U.S., which, at least from my experience, did not get as much press or as much attention as it should. As an inspiring filmmaker, this film is an example of everything a film should be. And that is a great story to tell, actors who have faith in their characters and can grow in them, and a brilliant director and producing crew to execute your vision. I give Knowing 5 stars across the board. It is a film that takes you on a really great journey, and it is once again a reminder that a film's job is to make you think and invest emotionally in it, and if it doesn't do that, it's not doing its job. I sincerely thank my very, very good friend, Civilian Snowman, and I hope that you enjoyed part 1 of your birthday present, Jack, my review of this wonderful film that you sent me. And just like every film that you recommend, I once again say to you, thank you, Jack, for once again exposing me to a film that I might have otherwise passed by. Once again, I cannot recommend Knowing enough. If you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor and see this absolute gem of a film as soon as possible. This is reality according to the Raz Man. And Raz Man style is not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.